Seriously and importantly, Omar has a history of launching vicious anti-Semitic screeds.
That speech, delivered last Wednesday, was a new low for the U.S. president, following up on a stunningly awful series of tweets. People are horrified, and they should be. But I think that I've noticed a sort of terrified, apocalyptic tone to the reaction that just isn't justified. This is scary stuff, but Ilhan Omar is winning. Omar is one of 4 congresswomen known as the Squad, a name that makes me feel 85 years old rather than just 40 years old whenever I use it. All 4 of the congresswomen were the target of the president's racist "go back where you came from" tweets. The tweets were pretty racist and pretty dumb. 3 of the 4 are natural-born American citizens. Also, Ocasio-Cortez's family hails from Puerto Rico, which has been U.S. territory for 120 years. And Tlaib's family comes from Palestine, which has basically been U.S. territory for 70 years as well. Ayanna Pressley has a better claim to the title of American than me, Donald Trump, or any other white person. Now, I think there is more at work in the stupidity of these tweets than just Donald Trump's ignorance. He claims to be going after all 4 of these congresswomen, but it's the only real immigrant, Ilhan Omar, that really drives him crazy. And he's not alone in that. Most of Washington, D.C., Republican and Democrat, is threatened to its core by Ilhan Omar. She has been mercilessly exposing the lie at the center of U.S. foreign policy over the past 20 years, and D.C. hates that.
Far too long, we have lived with the discomfort of being a second-class citizen. And frankly, I'm tired of it, and every single Muslim in this country should be tired of it. CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
After 9/11, Washington, D.C. had a problem. The United States had just experienced its worst attack since Pearl Harbor. The problem was that the people most responsible were the Saudi royal family, rulers of a dusty petrostate that is basically a U.S. colony. The Saudis buy a lot of U.S. weapons, and they were just as essential to keeping the money-spinning fight with Iran going back then as they are today. Plus, powerful U.S. political figures were deeply enmeshed in business ties with the Saudi princes. 9/11 was a terrible catch-22 for Washington, D.C. They had a fight, which they had desperately wanted since the end of the Cold War, but they couldn't fight the people who actually committed the crime. The U.S. government's solution to this problem became apparent almost immediately. They shifted the blame from Saudi Arabia to Muslims in general. George W. Bush was always very careful and scrupulously politically correct whenever he spoke about this religion of 1.6 billion people. Islam is the religion of peace, he said, and they're our friends. The actions of the U.S. government did not match these friendly words. From the beginning, Muslims were placed under a microscope. The FBI and other U.S. security services have focused on the surveilling and entrapping of Muslims above all else for 2 decades now. Bush launched an undeniably anti-Muslim foreign policy, and Obama and Trump have pursued it as well. The one war that made sense, Afghanistan, should have been a 6-month smash and grab, but we are somehow still there almost 20 years later. In 2003, we destroyed Iraq, the first of a long list of countries that had nothing to do with 9/11. In 2006, we teamed up with Somalia's neighbors to destroy that poor country yet again. Obama destroyed Libya in 2011 and bombed Yemen throughout his administration until it fell apart as well. From 2013, we used the CIA and Saudi money to kill 500,000 Syrians. If the policies themselves weren't enough to convince you of the lie of Bush's friendly words towards Islam, the fact that many of his advisors have gone on to work for vehemently anti-Islam organizations should do the trick. These policies were also useful for Democrats and Republicans that wanted to shield Israel from any scrutiny of their dehumanization of the Palestinians. As the decades wore on, this permanent war against Islam just became the way we do things, and it seeped into US culture in some really ugly ways. All of this has been done to defend the real terrorists in Saudi Arabia and their business partners in Washington, D.C.
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties. All of us were starting to lose. All of us were starting to lose. All of us were starting to lose.
That is why the US establishment hates Ilhan Omar so much. She is the sign that the war on terror gravy train is finally ending. Ilhan Omar's words and her very presence in power are a sign that the people of the United States are waking up to what Washington, D.C. has done. Trump is terrified of Omar because she threatens his Saudi gravy train. In fact, Omar has done more to go after the true architects of 9/11 than any of the 3 US presidents since then. Republicans and Democrats who unthinkingly serve Israel are terrified of her as well. Ilhan Omar is a hate object for these people because she is winning. Now, I get that the past week has been upsetting. I too am getting seriously afraid for Ilhan Omar's physical safety. But this is a fight that she chose, and this is a fight that she is winning. The next time you see a headline talking about how she hates America or Judaism, I suggest you look a little more closely because she doesn't hate either of these things. If you make it to her actual words, you'll see that she's not trying to hurt America, she is trying to save it. It's the panicked people who are constantly telling her to shut up, from Nancy Pelosi to Donald Trump, that are truly screwing over the American people. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and click the bell next to the subscribe button if you'd like to get notifications whenever I upload a video. Thanks.